To stay up to date with our latest episodes, follow us on the streaming platforms and our social networks in the description.
It feels satisfying to fail.
Hello, welcome to another world. I'm Octopus, and today I'm with Alberto. Alberto is a Web3 enthusiast, and I had the opportunity to meet him in the BM community of Discord. Today, I'm very glad to meet you and to have the opportunity to discuss about our topic of today, which is the community.
Absolutely. It's nice to meet you, 𝐬𝐸. We spoke before, but it's nice to see face to face virtually. My name's Alberto. I've been in the Web3 space probably for about a year and a half or so, maybe close to 2. I really lost track of time, and the space just moves by so quick. So yeah, I work for a company called Metallicus, and I work on the finance team, and my day-to-day responsibilities pretty much I go over at the payroll side of things. I process invoices. Yeah, just a lot of various like small tasks on the finance team. I'm working on a financial audit right now with the company. Yeah, just like working for a startup, I really help where I can. I wear a lot of hats, I believe, and just like really enjoy a piece of things.
And how did you discover the Web3 space? And how did you start interacting with it?
Yeah, good question. When I used to answer that question, I would say that, I first took the deep dive maybe around like March of 2021. But I think my journey truly started when I started playing around with NBA Top Shot. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those moments. The NBA moments where like you'll a pack of moments and then you'll open it up. You have, I don't know, like a few slam dunks. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
think that was like my first like real taste of NFTs. And then, of March of 2021, I started going down the rabbit hole when he started promoting his VeeFriends. He started releasing a lot of content about how to make a MetaMask wallet, what's gas. He started just like releasing a lot of how-to material. And at the time, I tried to follow as much as possible of all his material. And yeah, I remember him saying like, at least have one ETH. So I was like, okay, let me get one ETH. And then at the time of the mint, I had no idea what I was doing. So I stopped there, but I was still like researching on the side. And then I would say around October of 2021 is like when I started to really get into the space, joining communities on Discord. And yeah, it's just been a journey since.
yeah. And have you been like a crypto investor? Like you have always been speculating on crypto or since the first day, you have already been
Yeah.
looking for utilities.
Yeah, I mean, I first started playing around with crypto in 2017 when a few friends of mine, like we were just hanging out at a restaurant and we all just said, hey, let's all download the Coinbase wallet and buy like a few $100 of, I don't know, we had like Litecoin, Ethereum or something. But that was, if you're familiar with 2017, like probably like many people, we all got in around at the top of the bull run at that time. And like soon after when we made that purchase, yeah, the market went into a bear market and left the market for a few years and then just started playing around with it again. And here and there, I'll buy some crypto and stuff. And now we're just waiting for the market to go back up.
How did you start interacting into the Discord of the different communities? How did you discover the Hub community?
So I think I started becoming more active on Twitter. And I think one day Gary Vee posted a project, Women in Weapons. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Women in Weapons by Sarah Bauman. So I
Yep.
think that was the first time that I started looking into a project. I joined the Women in Weapons Discord channel. And then that was the first time I started getting into Discord more. And then from Women in Weapons, I discovered like Women Rise and just like other communities. And it just like after a month, maybe I was like in maybe 20 or 30 communities, like so
Yeah.
overwhelming. Like, how is this sustainable? And
This was in 2021.
yeah, 2021, around the end of 2021.
Yeah. It was still the bull run.
Yeah, it was still the bull run. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like so easy to get distracted, joining all the communities you can. And, like there was really no wrong. Just keep going and just learn as much as you can until, signs of the bear market started coming. Yeah.
What kind of NFT holder are you? Are you a people fan, like you just a trader, or you, when you like a community, you are loyal to them? And
Yeah, I hold a lot of like most of my projects. I never really was on the flipping side of things. I flipped here and there, but not so much. My wall behind me is covered. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this one, Crypto Chicks. This is Women in Weapons here.
yeah, that's
Um,
me.
the Wild Pixies, and then my BFF, and Yeah, there's like another number of
You got
vendors
many like that?
me. So what was that?
You got many like that? Like on your wall?
You want to see it?
Yeah,
Or
sure.
yeah, just more women in weapons, women tribe, not your bro, kingdom, women rise, another women weapons.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, just like a
That's
small number of I mean, my goal was to cover the wall, but I haven't had around to print more of the canvases. But
style.
yeah,
So how did you discover the hack community and how did you start working with them?
the HUD community. So in February of 2022, my BFF, they were actually launching their project and they had a webinar and Randy Zuckerberg was on the call. And yeah, I mean, at the time I was like, oh, cool. Like I recognize the last name and it's Mark Zuckerberg's sister. And I remember on the call that like she was also promoting her project called The Hug. And yeah, so I found out about The Hug through that call. And then at the time they didn't have a Discord. We were on Telegram. So I just joined that and just like slowly grew with them. And then just think it was around April is when the project officially launched, but I applied to be the community curator or like one of the community curators. So the hug is they mainly focus on the being inclusive and with their social curation platform where the community curators, they find artists, projects, and they put it on the platform. And then members of the community can review artists, review projects and rate them and give their reviews on it. Yeah, it just happened. I just went with the flow and I'm like very involved with the community, very great community, like, very
So you
supportive.
already members?
How many members? That's a good question. I'm not too sure exactly. But within the community, there's different committees. For example, there's a community committee where like that committee focuses on building community within the community. And then there's a builders network who works with projects, artists, project founders and stuff like helping them get resources to build their projects. Overall, it's almost been a year and yeah, the community has involved in many different ways. And
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
I'm glad to be a part of it.
So right now we'll go deep into the topic of community. My next question is, first, we all know that community did not come with Web3. It existed before. And there are successful companies that had community in their business model and succeeded. I think about Airbnb, for example. They had a community of folks and community for the people that really book. And for you that works as a community curator in a Web3 space, how would you define building a community in Web3? And for you, what makes it different from the Web2 world?
That's a good question. Yeah, like I'm still learning the process, but from my experience, like versus Web 2 to Web 3, the Web 3 side of community building, it moves very fast. And like you have the community right there at your fingertips messaging you versus like in the Web 2, but depending on the brand where the community doesn't really have a voice for certain brands when it comes to molding the brand or molding the company or even just feeling a part of it. Yeah. And I feel it's for sure a challenge, but as long as you're like there every single day, showing up with like pure intentions and engaging with the community and yeah, just interacting with the community, it slowly grows. But as long as like the community trusts you and know that you're there to be with them, you're there, they're also there with you to build with you and just having the trust and yeah, just breaking away from like the old models of doing things.
What's the thing that you appreciate the most in the community?
I would say just the relationships you build. Like even you and I, for example, like we were introduced and it's just so nice that like you can meet people from around the world and even just the flexibility of if you have 1 or 2 hours a day, like in your free time, you can hop on and interact with like friends from the community that you build. I mean, probably like, I don't know, 9 times out of 10, you probably haven't met the person in person, but you know them because you built a relationship, like heading on Discord, Twitter or something. And I feel like that's what I appreciate the most. Like with Web3, the community is just so alive. Like all the time you hop on, someone's always there. And yeah, just the flexibility of just going at your own pace, meeting like who you want. You get pretty much what you put in of it. And yeah, I mean, it's very enjoyable. I appreciate the space so much.
That's true. And we all know that when you're market, it's difficult to stay really engaged and committed in the community or even in the space. And for you, how does it look to work in a startup and what's your day look like? Do you have specific times to engage with people or is it something you do just when you are on your phone or how do you manage your time?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I try to be engaged as much as possible, like especially being on Twitter during the day while I'm working, listening at Twitter spaces. Yeah, like when the bear market started, like you can really feel the shift of the audience like disappearing. And then you get the sense of who's still around, who's there with you. Yeah, I had to manage my time and I struggle that like on a day-to-day basis, whether like I'm in a lot of different communities. So like I try to just prioritize the ones that I know that like I've been around for a while and always pop in there like from time to time. Yeah. Like also to navigating through the bear market, I feel that like a person or a community or a founder project, just having the mindset of being flexible and not too rigid. It's like you're going with the flow of things, always testing things out, experimenting, see what works, see what doesn't. And as long as you have that flexibility, you can like mold and shape as the market progresses, whether it's good or bad.
I saw that on your LinkedIn page. I saw that you already worked as a staff accountant before in we'll say a Web2 company. So how did you decide to work in a Web3 company, and what are the difference between your responsibilities, if there are any differences?
Yeah, it's kind of like life happens. And how should I say this? I just approach life as a going with the flow type of thing, like still being structured. Yeah. What was that?
Do you have any story about it?
Any stories? Yeah, just like where I was before at my previous job and how I ended up here working for Metallicus. I was on the finance team for a large publishing company, and like I really enjoyed like my job and my coworkers. But then I just thought I've always had that feeling. I was like, I'm working in the education space, but I feel like I want to see what else that I can do, or like what other industries that I can see if my skills can overlap in. I went into consulting as an accountant, and yeah, and then Metallicus was actually one of my clients. So I think it was all perfect timing. It all happened around the same time that I started looking into Web3, into NFTs. Yeah, I mean, they were my client of April of 2021, and then like things lined up, and I went full time in October of 2021.
How did you discover Metallicus as a client?
The firm that I work for, they assigned me to them. So just the way things like turned out. Yeah. Yeah. I just thought it was perfect timing. It couldn't have been any better. Like I really started looking into Web3 in March, and then in April, it's like, oh, here, we want you to join this client. Just like,
Yeah, that's right. The
yeah.
universe.
So like almost day one, I was like, oh man, I wish I could work for that company today. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like it just, the feeling of it, the industry that they're in. And yeah.
That's cool. And do you think there are any differences working in a Web2 company and working in a company like Metallicus?
Um, I think for me personally, because like I'm very passionate about the space. So like for me, it doesn't really just feel like a job, getting a paycheck. It feels that my personal contributions to the finance team, as well as my contributions to the Web3 space in general, like blockchain and crypto. So I feel like I get to do what I love every single day, and it's just a whole different feeling. Working in Web2, I mean, yeah, it's only been like a year and a half, almost 2 years. I can't really truly remember how it was back then, other than like not really having the ability to engage with others at the rate that you can in Web3, if that makes sense.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
And I think it's not the same perception of the consumer. And maybe, I don't know if it's the same in the missions and value of the company, but I guess it may be different working in a company where one of the main points, the main mission of the employees are to work for the community, and a company that works for a larger profit.
Right.
So
Yeah.
for me, there is a difference between the term society and community. When we say society, it can be based on the cultural effect, like the cultural habits or the demographic criteria, things like that. But community, as we all know, it's present on the internet, on Web3. There are communities, there are physical communities. For you, is it different? And how is it different?
Just like when you think about society and the community, there's community in many different like forms. Like you can have, like if you're a regular member of a gym, you can have that gym community, or if, like you're in a chess club, that's your other community. There's like many forms of having community, but society in general, where you live, that can really form all the different types of communities that can be available. I feel like with Web3, since it's an ongoing 24/7 community all across the world, and there's not really like the barriers of like borders, or we can just log onto Discord and like, you can interact with someone in a whole other country, such as ourselves, versus like society where you live, there's not always opportunities the same as where you can, like in the Web3 space. I don't know if I make sense there.
Yeah, I understand this point. The second question was, as you said, is you can go to a gym and be a member of the gym community. But it's something that exists since a long time. Like it's not new. So what's the added value of Web3 in terms of community? For someone that is working or that is creating a Web3 company and that wants to create its own community, what will be the added value?
The value of a Web3 community?
Yeah, from a normal community, let's say.
Yeah, I think just the opportunity to, I'm trying to have an example. So I feel like you're more engaged, more invested when from like a Web3 format or Web3 point of view. You feel like you're truly a part of a community, whether, you're being paid or not, whether like how active you are. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of, if we talk about the gym membership, you pay like a monthly fee, but the gym membership, if they went with a Web3 model where they make the membership as like an NFT, where like it shows how many times you've been there in a month, or if you're a consistent goer, they can give you like an NFT that says like, I've been there for 30 days straight, or I accomplished this. I feel like when you apply Web3, you can like really show people's accomplishments that are like forever on the blockchain. And that just makes people using technology to really engage with people, to encourage them to keep returning to a community versus just going and I don't know.
Yeah. Like it's easier to reward your community members in Web3 than Web2.
Yeah.
You can do that on a more regular basis, you want to say.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you. And my next question will be about the name of the media that is fail, so failure. And first, what are your perception of failure? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, no, and I really love this question. So failure, I'm the type that like, I embrace failure. Like I embrace challenges, tests, difficulties, because there's really never a true way to really gauge how you're doing at like in life or anything, whether you're going down the right path, whether it's kind of a way to benchmark where if you need to change something, you can continuously doing something every single day. And then if you're not tested, if you don't fail, there's really no opportunity for you to reevaluate what you've done, the steps you've taken up until that moment. So even when you're at school, if you study, you get an A or like a good grade. It's okay. Like I did good. Like my process to study and get that grade was good. But if you get an F or like a lower grade, that you can view that as a failure. But at the same time, I know that a lot of people view the word failure as a negative thing, but there's really no way. So if you get a low grade on that score, it's like you just reevaluate. Hey, maybe I didn't put in a lot of time to study, or maybe my approach to studying is different. Let me change this for the next time. And you just gauge, just fail along the way, or even just trying something new in life. Like, for example, like, you want to change careers. Like you never know the alternative if you don't go and do something, but if you try a new career, you fail at it, or if it's not working out, you just fail fast at it, you learn your lesson and then maybe try a new career or you go back to your other one.
You always got this definition of failure, this perception, or it came with time and with experience.
Right.
And when you face a failure, how do you handle it? How do you overcome it? What are your own tips or your own way to not be frustrated by it and not see it as a negative thing?
I think for me personally, like throughout the years, like I developed, I guess, the sense of being detached, like mentally from an outcome. Like something fails and you were so stuck on the outcome of it going successfully, you're going to slow yourself down at improving. So if you're just aware of what the outcome can be, whether it's negative or positive, staying detached from that and whatever the outcome is, you can always go back and reevaluate things. So I just think, my tip personally, just stay detached from the outcome. Things are going to happen the way they are, whether you are in control or aren't in control, just being detached. And
I agree with you, but I think that's easier to say than to do. Be detached from the outcome.
It's definitely, like years worth of working on that. Yeah. I still struggle with that myself, to be honest, but
it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy.
A lot of work that you can overcome it. And if I had to ask you, what is the failure or what are, if there are two or three, the failures that marked you in your life, that you step back, that you have today, you can see that it changed something in your way of seeing life.
Like personal failures that made me who I am today.
Yeah. Or even professional.
Even professional. Okay. Yeah. I think professional, like I go with like maybe saying yes to everything or underestimating time commitments that'll take when you say yes to something, whether it's like, because I like learning, I like doing a lot of things. So like sometimes when I underestimate my time commitments and with things like when there's deadlines all at the same time, I feel like that kind of, like those like small failures that it reminds me like, hey, like I really need to stop overcommitting myself or even underestimating my commitments and things like that. So I feel like, yeah, on a professional level, that can be like one failure.
And do you think you have overcome it over time? Or you still
I
working
think
on it?
so. Yeah. Yeah. Like almost every experience that I have of that is just like a reminder, hey, it's okay to say no sometimes, or yeah, just reevaluating how I approach things, or even just understanding the time commitments of the thing I'm saying yes to.
So you are still working. It's like, it's not something you just work on it for the time it's over. You still works on it over time and you
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
gonna be with.
It's an ongoing process. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have another failure?
I'm trying to think in high school or like when I was younger, I used to play football, and I decided to stop playing football at like my sophomore year. And like, it's just one of those things where I feel like I wish I never stopped just so I can, there's a lot that I could have learned, like if I still continue to play football. So I feel like that's something that like a personal failure of mine that I wish, yeah, I mean, I still continued like doing, even finished it through high school. And
That's
yeah,
it.
it's been many years like past high school, but I still think of that. Man, I wonder how like things would have been if I never
Yeah.
stopped playing football or
Did you have a specific reason why you stopped?
yeah, I just think like maybe my personal priorities shifted at that time. And yeah, like I was 15 or 16 at the time, and just, yeah, my priorities shifted. And that was like one of the things that I decided to unload off my plate, and yeah, decided to do other things. But looking back at it, I just wished, yeah, I continued. So like the lesson of that, yeah, my lesson of that is just like see things like until the end. If you start something, like just like whatever you are in life, like things can get busy, but like you want to just make sure you prioritize the right things and then, yeah, finish them through.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
As a kid, as growing as a kid, how was your perception of life? For example, today you have your own patients, you have the patients you had as a kid that you stopped, like football, for example.
Mhm.
And did you already pick as a kid your objectives in life and you worked on it since now? Or has it been difficult for you to look for your own objective? And how did you found yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. And just like similar to my response about the Web3 community, like navigating through a bear market, like if a community is like very rigid or open-minded to change. Yeah, no, when I was young, like I imagine myself like working on Wall Street, I don't know, like a stock trader and stuff. And I got a finance degree, but then I went into accounting because my family, we have a marble and granite business. So I was working there like through college and stuff. So my experience was always accounting. Yeah. So looking back at it, I imagine one thing, but my life took me a different way. And just like still trying to see like what like my true passions are, knowing that whether I want to stay in accounting or I want to try something new. So I feel like the things that like I hold on to is not like really being too attached with, I got a finance degree, but I'm an accountant and I'm going to stick with that. Like still just being like, I'm going to stick to like my hard work ethic and yeah, just like always continue learning. If I go from an accountant to, I don't know, something else like in a year or two, like I just have to go with the flow and just trust the process of where my life's going to end up as I'm trying to navigate to find my purpose in life or the true passions. And yeah.
And like, do you prefer to work by yourself or learn by yourself? Or you
Mm,
prefer to follow the road you are pushing?
I like researching things by myself, learning things by myself. If there's something I don't know, like I'll probably spend 2 or 3 hours a night just like researching something. And then when I feel that like I'm at a level where maybe I can have a conversation with someone or even just trying to apply what I've learned and then like, go working on a team or something. But yeah, I feel like when it comes to the research like side of things, I'll do it by myself. And then,
Okay.
yeah, but for the most part, yeah, I like working in teams and collaboration with people.
Can we say that the work of the community curator is also marketing?
If it's marketing,
It's more like human resources.
yeah, it's like we're the community curators, like they work together to find projects and find artists and putting them on the platform at one place. So yeah, I mean, it's like sourcing projects and yeah,
Okay, so you don't touch the partnership and
partnership. No, I do not myself. No.
okay,
Yeah.
got it. If you had the opportunity to give one or two advices to yourself in the past when facing failures, for example, what would that be?
Good question. Yeah, I mean, let's say the first advice I would give my younger self is like, just really don't give up. Just take things day by day, take things slowly, be patient. Like, don't try to rush things, because if you try to rush things, you'll miss things. You'll miss like certain opportunities. You'll miss like certain lessons. So just like take things on a day by day approach. and don't feel discouraged if things aren't happening at the speed that you expected it to.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's just, yeah, just be patient, think slowly, embrace the moment. And the
And
second one, I would say, try to
what?
take advantage of all opportunities. You never know when your next opportunity is like right there in front of you. Like trying to be aware of it. For example, like you and I had the opportunity to interview with you and just,
And
embrace the opportunity.
have you always been like that? Like you don't hesitate to take opportunities, or has it been something that you have been working?
Yeah, it's something that like I probably wasn't too aware of it like when I was younger because I was so fixated on the outcome of something like going to college. I wanted to go work on Wall Street or something like, or working for a financial firm, like one of the top ones. So I was so fixated on that I feel like I had blinders on where I didn't see other opportunities that I missed other opportunities that one, I'm probably not aware of, and two other ones that I was aware of, but I was like, no, I'm not going to take that opportunity because that's not the career I want. So other than it's just, I wish I did take those opportunities, but yeah, you never know the alternative of an outcome. You just have to take the opportunity, apply yourself and whatever comes from it.
Yeah, that's true. We said earlier that failure can be perceived as something negative, but it is not. But I think you can also yourself experience a failure, and in the time it will feel negative, but with experience over time, when you look back at it, you will see all the different benefits you get from it. And that's for my next question. Are there some experiences like that where you failed at something and it was not something easy to digest, but today with your experience you can say it was something that was necessary for your growth?
Yeah, no, I mean, the thing that comes to mind, I'm not sure if it'll be categorized as a failure, but if you look at like relationships where if a relationship doesn't end up the way you wanted, or there's a breakup and stuff, and it's hard to move past it, like, just going through the emotions, like, oh, like, why am I going through this? So, like every single day is a struggle, but every single day you push forward, you make it farther. But yeah, like when you finally get to a point where you can actually sit back and analyze the situation and see, okay, well, now I'm in a different place where I can analyze the situation where it's like, maybe that relationship wasn't good for me. Maybe like I was in that relationship as, I don't want to say it where it's like sounding bad, but like maybe that relationship was only meant for that time of your life to help you get to the next level. And then you look back and see all the different lessons, or even just like learning along the way, like learning about yourself, how you manage those emotions, how resilient you are. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's the example that comes to mind for me.
And that's the same in the life, actually. Like you can have failures in life, but it's just something to improve you for the next thing that you will have to face. And I have a question. Are you a religious guy, or you are pragmatic about things? Do you think there is a higher power or something?
Yeah. I am religious. Yeah. I do
Okay.
believe in God. I trust God. Like, I feel like everything we do, it's all happens for a purpose, and like whatever the outcome is. Again, I feel like that's where like my mentality of being detached from things,
Because you know how
there's not much you can do just going
to
through it.
delegate, like it's not fall by yourself. Exactly. I got you. Okay. My last question for this interview. What's your best experience in the Web3 space that you got since you have been there for 1.5 years?
Yeah, my best experience, I would say joining the Hug community, to be honest. I found the community like, through the MyBFF webinar, and then, just applying myself. So I feel like because of that opportunity, I mean, it's been really helping my journey through this Web3 space, just like meeting all the friends along the way, even meeting in person, all the opportunities to even help grow the community. Yeah, I feel like that's just been my best experience, is just being a part of the Hug community. Like, just the support system, the friends you make along the way, like friends I never even imagined that I would have, even if it was like a year or two ago. So yeah.
You get real friends, physical friends, more of it.
Yeah, both. The friends that like I made online, there's like a friend in Australia, in Europe area, and then like even in the Bay Area where I'm from, I think there's about 10 of us. And I mean, we already met up twice, and in the Bay Area. And I mean, it's just like a wonderful experience.
Yeah, that's cool.
If you don't apply yourself to even join a community or even interact with the community, you can miss these opportunities.
That's cool. Thank you for accepting to talk with me, and I hope you enjoyed the interview.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again. Yeah, very thankful for the opportunity.
It feels satisfying to fail.
Join our community and be inspired to take the first step towards your own success.